Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mark's Indy Spotlight. This week we have the Killjoy, Kolbe Max. Kolbe Max, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hey, thank you for having me here. My name is Killjoy Kolbe Max. I am from South Charleston, West Virginia, and I have in my literally yesterday, or 2 days ago, was my 2-year anniversary, and I'm proud of what I've been doing so far. I don't know what else to say
Awesome.
really.
So, behind the scenes, me and you've been talking a little bit, and I've gotten to know a little bit about who is Kolbe Max. So, my next question for you, for the fans, is who is Kolbe Max? How did Kolbe Max come about? Just let them know who you are.
Well, I'm an emo punk kid from the hollers of West Virginia. I just turned 19. I debuted when I was 17. Came in the business young, and I'm honestly a kid at heart, a punk kid specifically. So I wear checkerboard and Vans. I was the first person to wear checkerboard and Vans, um, and I come out with My Chemical Romance, and I can probably list a ton of bands that you might not have ever heard of.
Possibly, but I mean, like there was a phase during middle school for me where I dabbled in punk rock.
Well, for me,
Nothing against it. I mean, it's just I dabbled in it, and I and certain bands and stuff I like, but it's not my. Yeah, I'm gonna wake up in the
it was
morning. This is
just
the
a
first
phase
thing
for
I'm
you.
gonna listen to. Yeah, it was a phase.
It wasn't for me.
Well, I mean that's awesome. Explain the killjoy part of the Kobe Max.
Well, as I said, I come out to My Chemical Romance song. That song is specifically Na Na Na, along with in parentheses like 12 other Nas. But anyways, in the intro they say Killjoys make some noise. And so that's where I got Killjoy from, and I call my fans Killjoys, and I'm Queen Killjoy.
Awesome.
I'm their Queen
Awesome.
Killjoy.
Let's go into your training. By whom were you trained, and how long were you trained before you had your first match?
I am my oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm tired. My head trainer is Rocky Rage. I actually started training with him before he opened up his wrestling school. I went to a small rec center in Marmet, West Virginia, and before shows, for about a month or two, I would go and start training. And then I started training that October. And in that February, he started his wrestling school. House of Rage, unfortunately, is no longer in existence because we lost the building. And yeah, I met him February. I met him that February, or not February. Dang it! I met him the September before that October at a show in Dunbar, West Virginia, and I just got talking to him, and the rest is history.
All right, so you mentioned you've been in the business for 2 years now,
Yes, it's
and
been 2 years.
recently you also celebrated a birthday.
Yes, I just turned 19.
I did my homework. Um, Influences in wrestling, like who would you say was most influential into you wanting to be in the business?
Well, I have two older brothers, so I grew up watching it naturally. I didn't really seriously start considering it till I was 15, but of course, growing up in the 2000s and 2010s, John Cena and Randy Orton were definitely up there. Uh, AJ Lee, Paige, especially Paige, and the Bellas were definitely four figures, like especially around WrestleMania 31 season and that the 2014 2015 era, where it was just them building up and up and up. Like that definitely influenced me a lot. Um, but going on from there, that's when like really women's wrestling started becoming big, and in ring ways is Bailey. Paige. Bailey's actually the reason. Bailey and Finn Balor are the reasons why I became pro wrestlers. I met them, and they gave me the best day of my life. So, like when I was 15, they gave me the best day of their life. So naturally, I wanted to give somebody the best day of their life. And
So
yes,
so
I'd
it's a
say
giving back.
mhm, it really is. I mean, Bailey, Finn Balor, Paige, and probably CM Punk because, as I said, I was a 2000s, 2010s kid, so I watched him a lot, and I'm watching him again now. Fortunately,
Yeah, it's crazy how that came full circle, huh?
yeah.
Um, like I know usually it's up to promote the promoters and stuff on if you're going to be face or heel, but your preference. So, do you rather work face or do you rather work heel?
I'm preferable with face mainly because I'm young and I just have that spunky punk kid, and it's just I think naturally that's someone, at least in West Virginia, how I started becoming rather popular as I did is because a lot of the people in the crowds are a bunch of kids. And a lot of it is kids bring with their moms who brought them. So not only do the kids cheer you on, but the moms, because like they see an influential female figure that their daughter can possibly look up to. And that's
Right.
something that I found really important was to be like I wanted to be that person that people could look up to. And hopefully I have been.
Well, I
And
was
I
watching
just
the Jericho podcast today, and then or listening to it rather, and then I listened to the most recent Major Wrestling Figure podcast. So they were saying they were on the interview with the guy that actually created the Remco figures, and something that he said really stuck out to me because he said when he was designing those figures and all and while he was watching wrestling he would thought these are real life superheroes. So to see that in the kid's eyes and it's in adoration of you, it's got to be fulfilling.
oh definitely like growing up, as I said, John Cena and Randy Orton, CM Punk, that was kind of their not their peak, but like they were in like the main event scene and just seeing that. And of course there
um
are plenty of others too.
oh yeah, like it was definitely saturated with good talent around those times.
Mhm.
It like I grew up watching the late golden era, early attitude era, and I've always kept up with the product, even if I'm not like a humongous fan of certain things that they're doing with certain people. Like there's other talent that could deserve that push to the top and stuff like that, and sometimes I feel like they just leave people at the top for a little too long, or they let them get the belt and then immediately boom, it's off of them.
I
Like you had that feel good moment. Now we're gonna take that completely away.
It's like the Miz last year with the Money in the Bank. I really wish they
Oh
had kept that longer.
yeah, the Otis stuff was pretty entertaining to me. Like that's definitely a character of the modern era. I love the working man. Oh yeah, Tucky Otis. The more serious Otis with the Gable and all that.
Oh,
To
Chad Gable's
me,
hilarious.
yeah, but like to me, he resembles the guy, the heel off of Pee Wee Herman. When he went clean shave, like when you see when you see Otis, you think burly beard with the big ham bone. I'm sorry, it just stuck. The
Yeah. I think him and Chad Gable together is super entertaining.
yeah,
Giving
I
Chad
mean
Gable a microphone was such a good idea.
yeah, but like, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy it for what it is, and yeah, I'm just saying they could have gave me oh yeah Tucky for a little while longer. But back to you. Who would you say that your style of wrestling is most like? Like, I know you're not gonna blatantly mimic another wrestler's complete style or anything like that, but what are the most I guess where you could say where you drew your most inspiration in your move set from?
Finn Balor, hands down.
So we could see some Colby Mack sling blades and stuff.
Oh, all the time.
um
They'll never be as beautiful as his, though.
what match or moment so far in your career have you been a part of that is you could say it gave you the best feeling, or it just sticks out a little more than the rest? It's your favorite match that you've had thus far?
I have multiple for sure. My first singles match, like that is one of the very few matches that I'm like, I am so proud of myself from that match. Like that was an awesome match. It was against Yella. Shout out to Yella. You should interview him sometime. Oh my gosh, it was just we made each other look so good, and the crowd was into it. Um, it was really because I actually debuted as a heel, which is kind of uncommon, especially or at least for this area. And so that was really the first match that I worked face, and it's just all of a sudden like it kind of showed me who I was really meant to be. Like I didn't mind being a heel, and like I was starting to get it down, but like I just feel like when I was at base, like it just immediately clicked. Like I got
Right,
a little bit more
like
confident. And I mean, some
you
people are the
you
same way
fed
with
off
being
the
heel.
energy.
Yes.
And like a lot of people can't grasp that concept. Like if that crowd starts getting into it, you're supposed to feed into it and give them more,
Yeah.
give them more, give them more. Like to me, I like a mixture of the two.
Hmm.
There's certain heels that heal so good that you can't help but like them, and then there's some faces that they just couldn't get over with the perfect gimmick. So I mean, I'm not strictly watching the product for strictly who's the best heel, who's the best face. I
Hmm.
enjoy everybody's gimmick for the originality and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
That's why I love Samoa Joe as much as I do. Is that even though he'd come out and just beat the crap out of people, I just thought he was awesome.
yeah, I mean,
Especially like way back when it was like I can't remember when exactly it was, but it was on a SmackDown, and he just comes out and just starts roasting literally everybody. It was hilarious. And
I'm glad you said that.
I found an
I'm
edit that was it was him with his music in the background yelling at somebody who made it 10 times better.
like I'm very very glad you said that because Samoa Joe to me is like I grew up watching the Attitude Era and stuff like that, so you're used to seeing those badasses that just come in,
Yeah.
tear shit up, and leave. And then like Joe did that for towards this modern era, and that made me start enjoying wrestling more again.
Yeah, I feel like some people do it, but just that lack of personality or that lack of what's the word I'm looking for? Connection, maybe. And I just feel
Right.
like naturally Joe just had a natural connection.
And another wrestler recently that has done that for me.
Oh, Eddie Kingston,
Yes, I love his work.
him coming out during that match at Double or Not or at Double or Nothing with the gasoline, just blood down his face. He looks like I was talking about it in my friends group chat, like well, her and Aaron West. He goes, he came out looking like a serial killer, and I effing loved it.
Yeah, like he's like everybody has that crazy uncle, that they don't necessarily talk about all the time, but everybody has one in their family tree somewhere.
Well, for me, it's Ant, but
Well, I mean, either or, but
anyways,
that like that's what Eddie Kingston reminds me of. Is like he'd be my crazy uncle who I'd love to go drink beer with, and then if anybody got out of line, then we just go kick ass. um, where can the fans come to see you? Tell the fans what you have lined up as far as the upcoming bookings, promotions that you work at regularly, how to find you on social media and all your outlets. If you got pro wrestling tees, also drop that so they can find and support you.
Well, first off, I actually don't have pro wrestling tees. I support small businesses in my hometown, so I do that. And I'm actually going to be in
But you
West
do have
Virginia for.
merch, correct?
Yes, I do, and they are always available at my shows. And honestly, you could possibly even mail it if you wanted to.
Right.
But anyways, uh, I'm gonna be in West Virginia for the next little bit. I do have some stuff coming out, and plus, you can also see me on OVW sometimes on Thursday nights on Fight TV. Actually, the Bash and Beckley, ASW's Bash and Beckley is this Saturday. I am wrestling the one and only Jessie Bell Smothers, and it is actually a pay-per-view event. And then
Awesome.
between now and then, I am going to be wrestling in Bluefield, West Virginia Friday night, and tomorrow night I will be wrestling in Cross Lanes, West Virginia.
Um, you said OVW a match. When you said that, I keep up a little bit with it, and a match of a talent that I've seen go through OVW and stuff, and I think would be a great match for you would be you versus Lilith Graham.
Really?
Yes.
I was supposed to work with her like last summer, but something happened like travel wise that she had to cancel unfortunately. And I actually have not met her. I don't know.
The
I literally have not. And it literally
the
just hit me that I haven't.
yeah, like the whole the persona and the gimmick, together. She's awesome. I've been Facebook friends
Hmm.
with her for a little over a year, and I think that would definitely be something that the fans could get invested in. So if any
I'm
of you
interested in it too
promoters
now.
are out here listening to this, you know, Lilith
Well,
Graham,
you're a
Colby Max,
promoter.
let's make it happen. Yeah, we could possibly make that happen at Exclusive
Well,
Pro Wrestling. Um, so you said Bailey and Finn Balor, pretty much huge influences. So I'm assuming if I ask you who your favorite face and who your favorite heel is, that will be the response, correct?
actually, believe it or not, my favorite heel of all time is Stephanie McMahon. Because looking back at her, there was nobody I hated more growing up than her. Which is really interesting because every time she came on, I would almost turn the channel, but of course I wouldn't because. But I
You wanted to see
also
what was going to
watched.
happen.
Oh yeah, but the fact that there was this strong woman that walked in with her head up high, shoulders up, just basically, for lack of a better wording, being the boss bitch lady. And it's just looking back at it, in a sense, I envied her because here you have in this era of wrestling, or at least in WWE, where women weren't necessarily held at a high regard, at least by fans, in a sense. And here you have this woman wearing a suit, wearing heels, with her makeup done, just coming out and just snapping at people. It's like, and I don't know if you have you seen the docu series Evil. It's produced by John Cena, I believe.
Yes.
Well, I actually watched the episode on her because, of course, I found her to be very influential, and they talked about how Lita went on to talk about how, as much as even though she was working her ass off on camera, she was also doing it off camera, and that's another reason why I have a huge respect for her because she was able to do both and keep it balanced and keep me sane at the same time.
Right.
And something else, like it said, this one person said, I can't remember who it was, is that in a sense, she was able to make the crowd sympathize with Vince McMahon, who at the time was the most hated person in WWE. And the
Right.
fact that you can sympathize with Vince McMahon in a sense, that's like dang sis, you know?
Right. Like she was definitely in tune with her star player there.
Oh yeah. And I mean she's just still at it. Like the summer of 2013, I was like 10. That's when I was like really heavily getting into WWE because like I'd watched it, but I didn't really like know who people's names were. I wasn't really consistent, but I was getting, excuse me, but I was getting invested in that. So her feud with Brie Bella in the summer of 2013 was awesome. At least
All
for me,
right.
it
So
was.
my next question would be your favorite match by both your favorite heel and your favorite face.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella because the storytelling is fantastic. They both made each other look so good. Of course, Nikki turning on her. Oh my gosh, no! The fact that like that was something that literally nobody saw coming, and that's the thing that I love. Well, I'm serious. I mean, it was kind of like Finch and Judgment Day turning on Edge this past week. Like you can go in comments and stuff, and it's just everybody was like, "I literally did not see it coming," and I think the ones that you literally would not think would ever happen is the best thing. And
Oh
her
yeah,
winning
especially when you
that
pull
match
the wool
definitely had
over
to do with
everybody's
that.
eye.
Yeah,
That
it's
awe factor, that shock and awe factor, is definitely key.
yes.
Um, so
Plus,
beings
her
that
gear in
you've
that
got,
match is awesome.
oh yeah, beings that you're 2 years in now. If somebody, some young fan or anybody, ask you for advice, what advice would you give them on becoming a professional wrestler?
I've said this multiple times throughout the few years. I actually have multiple. My number one thing is be the person that your self needed. That's the big one. So always think before you say and post and whatnot. I've always done that, and I've gotten endorsed because of that. Um, this takes
Yeah,
time.
because
Like, don't.
believe it or not, a lot of promoters look at social media
Oh yeah,
and check what you're posting and just I mean, because I know it's not the same as if we're WWE or anything, but at the same time, you don't want bad PR. Like,
yeah, and also they like seeing like how much you advertise for shows. Like that's why I post for it like almost every other day, because even if it's just like a picture of my dog, like I want to be connected with my Killjoys.
right,
Like I want to
and
who's Kolbe outside the ring, and that's something that my dad tends to like not bug me about, but to get on me about. And at first I was kind of like, but I don't want to. But as I've started to get back more in, is that, and I'm starting to go more places. It's like if people know who I am, it's like, well, if I'm giving them a reason to want to follow me, like giving them, like give the people a reason to care in a sense.
right, right. I understand.
Yeah, and it takes time. I mean, Killjoy Colby Max wasn't discovered in one day. I mean, honestly, I'm 2 years in, and I'm really still like finding out new stuff. I'm learning. You never stop learning, and if you think that you know everything, you might as well hang up your boots,
Right.
or in
Never,
my case,
never,
hang up your
never
bands.
stop. Never stop trying to improve. That's a big thing. And it's funny that you said something about the whole, promoting stuff, like as far as wanting to see how much you share and stuff, because that is one thing that aggravates the crap out of me.
What do you mean?
If if you have not shared the flyer this whole time and it's the day before the show and that's the only time you share it, quite possibly I will not decide to bring you in again.
I mean, especially if it's just on Facebook or on Instagram, all you have to do is just press two things: post the share
It,
and then share to your page, or you
they
under
make it
put it on
so
your
easy.
story.
Literally, it would only take you max 30 seconds. They make it so that easy, depending on your internet connection.
What is it?
I said they literally make it where the max that it will take you is 30 seconds, depending on your internet connection.
Yeah. I mean, I work at
So
a
I
gym
mean,
during the week. The shoot job is work. I work at a gym, so I mean, I'm just sitting here making sure I'm breaking the rules and whatnot. And I'm just sitting back there, and I got effort to post, play Mario Galaxy. But
um,
yeah, and last thing about posting stuff and advertising shows that you care and that you want to be there.
yeah, and here's another thing. Even if you're not on that show, but you have aspirations to work with that company, or
Yeah, or
you've
you've worked
worked
for them
with that
before.
company and you see they got something coming up, it doesn't hurt to share that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
Well,
times if like say if my tag partner, one of my tag partners is on a show, like I'll just like repost something on my story on Instagram.
right. I mean, it's all about helping each other.
Hmm. Making connections, you know.
Oh yeah, because you never know that you might have someone in your network that just sent you a Facebook friend request, and it could lead to possibly working somewhere down the road at New Japan or something like that. If people, if
Yeah,
you're likable, and people know that, hey, this is a valuable asset, they're gonna speak up for you in the right conversations.
yeah. I mean, I want
Like,
to get down to Texas soon, so hopefully somebody can help me out with that.
awesome, awesome. The
And of
Lone
course,
Star
now I
State.
want to come down. I wanted to come down to Georgia too, so
Well, we could definitely make that happen. We have some. We're working on building up a women's division, so definitely interested in seeing Colby Max in exclusive pro wrestling. Um, anything else that you want to delve into to give these fans a more in-depth look at Colby Max?
is there anything you had in mind?
Um, for the audio version, it's whatever. When we go into the bonus content, cheap plug. Look for it on YouTube or Facebook. We're gonna have the video version of this, and you will be able to see Colby Max live and
Mm,
in action. But
right. Well,
in closing, then on for the audio version, what would you like to say to your Killjoys?
um, well, I hope to see you all either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Um, if there are any promoters, any workers watching this, I am definitely interested in coming to new places, and I am 100% negotiable regarding rate, travel, everything. Um, yeah, I'd love to work for you. It's all about coming, going to new places, making new connections, and I think that's one of the greatest part about becoming a professional wrestler is just how many people I've met, how many stories I've heard and I've shared, so many things I've learned.
Now, I've seen in independent wrestling shows that people from the community, they're not very outspoken or anything. They connect with a wrestler, and then they become the, the most talkative person you've ever seen,
Oh
and
yeah.
open up about stuff that maybe has been on been on their chest that they needed to get off or something of that nature.
Oh, hands
So
down.
I mean, definitely that's another reason why I got involved with the business, because for the plain simple fact, I've been a fan of it since I was 4 years old. I got us, my foot in the door as a ring announcer. I still ring announce to this day, and do the commissioner role for exclusive pro wrestling. And so, just giving each match that big fight feel, like I go all out with my introduction, and I make it feel like whoever's coming through that curtain, it's going to be awesome.
I understand that. I get that a lot.
Like, I literally practiced for like 2 months straight before my first gig every single day. Every single
Hey,
day.
there's nothing wrong with that.
You would not catch me without a bottle of water in my hand, and I'm pretty sure that the neighbors got tired of hearing "ladies and gentlemen," even though they were probably, at least a good 300, 400 foot away. They still heard that.
Well, at least everybody, you got to pronounce to everybody in the back of the crowd.
Well, my thing is too is I grew up in the days of every introduction that I heard was people like, Howard Finkel and stuff like that, and he had a very distinct way of how he did his introductions. And watching WCW on the big fights and all, you'd hear Michael Buffer and just that he conveyed that energy. One of the greatest announcers of sports, period, Michael Buffer. But I wanted to convey that in my own way. And so my very first gig went out there. We did the show, you know, paid my dues, helped load up the ring and all that. Met with the
It's very
promoter. He
important.
said,
There's no such thing as never not paying dues.
look, if even if people tell you when they run a wrestling promotion that they're done paying their dues, everybody else works for them. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it takes everyone to make a promotion.
Never be too superstar to help with the ring, because
Jimmy Hart helped set up chairs.
I promise you that that will make a promoter definitely look at you more than once. Versus prima donna, I'm not gonna do that. I've done enough. No, it's definitely this business will give to you if you give to it, and sometimes it's not as fast as you may like it, but
And I learned that. I mean, I've been on pay-per-views because I just went to a show and I helped set up a ring, and the next show I did the same, and then I started bringing my gear. Hey, do you have your gear? Oh yeah, also always bring your gear. Um,
oh yeah, never leave home without it.
that's how I worked WrestleCade. Like I knew a couple people and who were involved in the Ladies Night Out promotion, and I said, "Hey, I got my gear. You have an extra spot?" And sure as you know it, I got to work with Diamante and Amber Nova and Freya Slaya, who I've worked multiple times before, but it's always great working with her.
All right. My next question is hobbies outside of the ring. We're gonna go a little longer here. How hobbies outside
Okay.
of the ring? What does Kobe Max like to do?
Uh, Writing. I have since middle school. I've been writing and whatnot. I'm not as big into it as I once was, unfortunately, but I'm starting to try to get myself back into it. I still design on occasion. Also, wrestlers, specifically female wrestlers, I'm kind of better at that than designing uh, gear for men. But if you ever need someone to design you something, hit me up. And I love animals. Every time I see a dog or just something while I'm walking down the street, I make an effort to go pet it.
It's a squirrel. I can catch it.
I have booped a squirrel before, but no, it's I'm also I'm into Nintendo a lot. As I said earlier, I love Mario Galaxy.
Avid gamer, you would say.
Um, Not necessarily avid. Like I don't. I Nintendo has really been the only thing that I've played because that's just what I grew up on, and I've never really been good
Right.
at I've never been good at free world games, if that makes sense. Like that's why I love Mario Galaxy as much as I did because that was the first game other than like Smash Bros or Mario Kart that I was really good at. And then I got Super Mario Odyssey, and I was good at that, thankfully. And I'm probably gonna get a Pokemon game soon. I might get Breath of the Wild. Everybody's telling me I should get it, but I would get Metroid, but apparently it's super hard. And between my processing disorders and my short temper when it comes to video games, I used to cuss out the Goombas and the other things in that show or in that show in that game. when I first played it. I'm like on my third time playing it over.
Any video game with difficulty, if you give it to even the most, level-headed of people, and you give them something that is difficult that they cannot pass after like the first three tries, I promise you, you see a whole nother side to
Oh, hands down. I feel bad for my mom hearing me. Like I'll just be sitting in my living room playing Mario Galaxy, like give me little shit, and
them.
she's just trying to make dinner.
Honey, are you all right in there?
Honestly, that she's
Is the
like,
spaghetti
Colleen,
ready?
Colleen, do you need to take a break from that? No,
All right,
I'm
so
about to throw the console.
you're reaching for the controller now, aren't you?
No, I have when I'm at work, whenever my mom or dad comes to bring me lunch, I'll give them the Switch by that time because I know I'll probably start cussing it out by that point. But anyways,
All right, so I want to thank you for coming on. Stay
for
on
having
because
me.
we're gonna shoot some bonus stuff for
Bonus
YouTube and
content.
Facebook. Yes. But I would like to thank all the listeners, everyone with the We Can't Wrestle podcast, and everything that falls up underneath the umbrella that is. I'd like to give a shout out to If You Smell What the Arch is Cooking podcast with my buddy Archie Mitchell. Check that out. If you haven't checked it out already, check out Reliving the Extreme with Nate Maxon and I believe Aaron Maxon and Chad Michael Demera. Um, Thank you for your support thus far. I hope y'all enjoy this. And this has been episode 3 of Mark's Indie Spotlight. All right, 36:57. I got to write down the timestamp for it.
Yeah, it was like right at 37.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. I don't want to go too long and bore the people to death, neither.
Yeah, I understand. And speaking of which, is it okay if like we just watch one match because I need to get
Yes.
home, unfortunately.
Yeah, you just pick which one of the three that you want us to
Let's
watch.
do the Kincaid. Let's do the one where I tag with Kincaid.
With Kincaid. Let's see. That's not the ladies' night out 11 where you did
No,
Diamante and them.
it's the one in Tennessee.
The Petty and Pink.
Correct.
All right, so let me go over here. Hit share screen.
I chose that one because it's the longest. Plus,
All right,
it's
so
entertaining.
for our YouTube and our Facebook viewers, we are fixing to give you a look at Kobe Max in action. Anything you want to tell them about this show? Mindset going in.
Uh,
Who else they're going to see in the
not
match
only
with?
was this not only was this the first time I main evented a event, it was actually the first time me and Jason Kincaid have tagged. And it was awesome working with Dylan McLean, Kenji Payne Chendry. This was definitely a great opportunity. I'm glad that I used the opportunity. I used my time wisely in that opportunity. We had a blast.
Well, let's see if it's as fun watching it as much fun as it was for you to do this.
I actually once had this match
Sir,
to a
from South
promoter.
Let me
Charleston,
turn
West
the
Virginia,
audio down.
Killjoy,
So,
Kolbe, Max,
all
and
right.
her tag team partner from
Hush
Goddess
back when my hair
Quest,
was
West
blonde.
Virginia,
You,
weighing in at
you can you can talk over
170
the
pounds.
video. It's
This
that's
is
Okay.
basically the premise.
I look so different in this video. I was
We're
blonde
saying
and
he gets all
tan,
the
and
girls. You just don't want to tell how he gets them. Sleazy E.
that was also back when my
tonight.
gear
Sleazy
wasn't
E tonight.
about to tear apart because I just got to the
The
point where I was
queen
wearing the
is
tights
furious.
every weekend, and
Mockery.
now
He's got all of it on now. He is just wow.
So, what does your gear look like now?
I have multiple ones, and I actually am debuting a new pair. Let's just say it's Black Parade inspired.
Me and him's
My performance is Black Parade
spending
inspired.
nights in the same hotel room together over the years kind of makes me wonder if I want to do that again.
So
It's not really
you're
different.
like
Lee McQueen is
so
stopping
you're being
Big
like
Man. He's
the
both
independent
stopped.
version of Bianca Belair.
What do you mean?
She makes all those attires she wears for the big fights and stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't make them. I didn't make it. Trina Elizabeth actually did my gear, and
Oh,
she is
gotcha.
Who
awesome.
cares less at this
That's
point?
someone who I definitely
What's wrong
recommend.
with Dylan? Hey! Thatcher throwing shit here.
I actually sent this
Contest.
match to a promoter, and he immediately shut me down because apparently it was the hokeyest BS. In his words, the hokeyest BS he's ever seen. When in my opinion, this is probably the best match I've ever been in. At least one of them. So
Here's
hopefully you
my
don't
thing.
think that.
No, 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 no. So far, I mean, I'm gonna watch it as if I was a mark. I'm the mark of all
Yeah,
marks.
but yeah, he was real old school. So
Yeah, but I mean, come on now. I mean, I grew up watching, the older stuff, and that's what made me a fan. But over the time, I have, evolved with the business as well.
and the thing is, like, the four people in this match have made television appearances. So
If Dylan's got that big of a problem with it, he could do
yeah,
something
that's me
about it.
playing on the
He's
jacket.
choosing not to do nothing
There's
about it.
this
So,
really funny
Go ahead,
picture.
Dylan. It's the promoter.
Wait, go ahead.
go, no, you go ahead. Finish
There was
what you
this
were
really
saying.
funny picture that's actually on my Instagram somewhere. It's of me, it's of me having the crown where I'm like, I just have like this really weird face on my. I just have this really weird face, and it's just a perfectly timed picture. It's a little blurry, which makes it even better. But hey, Minus Control looks really good in it.
But like the whole thing is stuff like that. You get the crowd laughing. They're gonna think more about your match at the end of the night. When they walk out of there, they're gonna be like, "Man, that was a good." It's organic, and you connect with the fans on that level, and they have a good time. Then that equals next time you're there, they're coming back to see you.
Yeah,
No, absolutely. Put him out for 2 weeks, baby.
I don't know
I
why.
love this match.
I don't know why, but the guy right there, he reminds me of
Who
like
the
a
ref?
She will fight
Cle-
anybody,
no, the one
anywhere,
that's behind the girl right
anytime.
there.
Dylan McQueen.
Yes, he reminds me of clean shaven Brian Pillman Jr.
I can see that.
Agreed, 100%. And you talk about the wild ride she's been on. We sure will
And your partner in this match reminds me of
that
a
she's been
skinnier version of
opportunities
Sin Bodhi.
she has coming up. If you could say the same about Dylan McQueen,
Like all he's missing is the face paint.
part of the Nightmare Factory.
I find it
Training
funny how
to
Kincaid
rise
started
to
wrestling the
the
year I was
head
born.
coach. Learned a lot.
Well, I mean, it's definitely good to have people
Oh yeah.
knowledgeable of the business around you, because that you then being surrounded by the right people, through your training, and like as far as just
Well, he's made
the
himself
friends
a
you make
star.
in the business,
Not only did he get his
it's
great initial
it's
career
pivotal to
fighting under
success
the great
also,
trainer of the
because
world today, Dr. Tom Pritchard,
like
but he's going out
they're
there
gonna
and
steer
fighting
you and guide you,
in a
and
different
they got
style.
your best interests at heart. And
Oh, definitely. That's why I love working with Kincaid. I also love
Kincaid,
wrestling Jesse Bell
he'll be
Smothers.
trying to
I
fight
love
Kolbe
at OVW getting to work
restricted a few
with
years ago.
Amazing Maria. Gosh, also, can I just say Kenzie's chain
Been
wrestling is
impressed
awesome.
with her conditioning and look so far. Let's see what she
yeah,
can
you
do.
can definitely say that.
Right now, Kenzie getting
Yeah,
handled pretty
Kenzie's
easily.
great.
Of course,
Both her
Kincaid
and
is
Ella are
known the world
very,
over
very
as
lovely
one of the
people.
best in the world, unsigned or signed. Great teamwork
Me
here.
singing gorillas.
And no doubt Kincaid is
Like
leaving
like I hope you
in a
don't take this as
matchup
any
that
disrespect, but
is
when I see your gear right there,
resurrecting the
you know what it
champion.
reminds me of, like where it takes me
Great
back
double axe
mentally.
smash.
What?
Like when I see your gear right there, is
Yeah.
like where
We'll talk about
where it
some
takes me back mentally. and like I don't mean this disrespectful at all, so don't think that. But spark
No,
plug
yeah.
Bob Holly.
Now, how he has evolved. He's always been one of the best.
Interesting.
This man is
When I see
everything
the
he's ever
checkers, that's I mean
innovated.
I'm sorry, I'm old school
Huge
wrestling.
improvements.
Now you're
You know,
fine.
I grew up off of
Take
that.
out his opponent
Now you're
and
fine.
stays fresh.
That's right. You know, here's the thing. I
It's the
actually
best spot of the
remember when
entire
Jason Kincaid
match.
was
Oh crap! Hold on.
training
All
in
right, there
West
we go.
Virginia at a skating rink. They had wrestled at a skating rink on, I believe it was Tuesday nights. I wrestled there
Sorry, shoot chop
on
things.
a regular basis.
Trained
She
by
was
the Patton twins.
trained by the Batten twins. Hey, you look those guys up the Batten twins. Two for God
I was
legends.
so confused here. I mean, here I am.
They taught this guy. They taught this guy
It's
basic
fine.
fundamentals. Oh, he's asking for the spanking.
This is bonus content. They're getting a real look at you, so I mean it's
I
fine.
don't think the Batten twins ever
It's fair. It's fair.
anybody that asked to be spanked.
Yeah, man, I still got my uniform on.
I mean the
I
thing
don't
about
know
it
how
is too
if
is
it was at
like
first. I don't know if he
people
is now.
gotta understand like the fans already know way too much nowadays.
You got what you
Like the
asked for. You
days
didn't
of
want
keeping
none.
I
everything
mean, we're real
kayfabe
people.
is right. The days of keeping everything kayfabe, you know, is somewhat over
I love my
with.
shot. I love.
Let's
Okay, can I just say that my shotgun drop kick that was awesome. I love my shotgun drop kick. Last summer, I just
almost made a tag, but give her credit for her ring awareness.
there's a really stupid picture that came out of that. It's me like I have a very lovely face in that picture. But anyways, back to like the real life stuff.
Oh, got his own partner.
Yeah, like the fans they're hip to it. I mean, it's not like it's a big secret anymore. Like obviously
Yeah.
for the purposes, don't be at the show, you know, just being buddy with your opponent where people can see you. But
Slap was a tag.
Yeah, I mean, wrestling is my life, but I have life outside of wrestling, if that makes sense. I eat
right,
here.
Oh,
Here's one hard hitting.
well,
Like I'm in a
like
supply closet right now.
my partner, he's also been in the business for like 20 years now, and well, a little over 20 years. But he kind of says like, yeah, at the end of the day, he's a wrestler. He said, but
Yeah.
at the beginning of that day, he's a dad first, you know, he's a
Mhm.
friend first, and you know, he's a worker at his job first. He's
And
like,
there's days where we
I
have to sacrifice that, but
right. And like he said, he says, I'm a hobby wrestler. Like I do wrestling as a hobby because I love it. It's like the same thing as people picking up wood burning and stuff like that. I mean, wood burning might hurt a little less, but
yeah, it's easy. We'll just make him around. Easy, what a man.
yes. And moments like that, I guarantee you, that night when he was leaving, I guarantee you that's what he was talking about. Because the fans do just like most of the workers do, anyways. Is you know they'll meet up at a restaurant after the show, and catch dinner with other people.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that was table conversation for that.
anything is a weapon when Jason Kincaid's around. He's
True.
like Chuck Norris.
I
Like
once
like
read this one thing where Finn Balor would go out with fans after NXT to bars and stuff. It's like I've always like thought how cool that would be.
right.
Now the referee again, he's out of the ring using discretion. Kinsey Page on the apron just
Oh, not the water
staring
bottle.
on in disbelief here.
The referee just clearly not want this main event to end in a countout.
So this was how far were you into your career here?
I was a little over a year. This was last August, so I was over a year.
And this is on the High Spots
That
Wrestling
tag is
Network.
so awkward. The tag was so awkward. That's the only. That's like literally the only thing in this match that bothers me is that tag. Is that
teamwork.
I love that doing that move with him.
OMF coming up here.
The thing that gets me sometimes is like some people are nowhere
Big
in the
drop kick and
vicinity.
60 drop kick. That's what I meant with Jason Cade and the drop kick.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Smartly, Dylan McQueen goes to the floor. Hey, you can't be pinned on the floor.
And for those fans who may not know what we're talking about, Kincaid, a part of a team many years ago, a partner named Chris Richards called OMF, called Own Mother. He finished West.
Yeah.
And one thing I just noticed, and you know, I'm gonna look at all the little things. One thing I did, you know, just like is the fact that your partner literally had his hand on the tag rope. People
Yeah.
like nowadays forget that. Like it's the small things.
That's going too far, man.
Dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Oh, knee to the back. This match has changed momentum quick to the other side, has it not?
That's what training under guys like QT
I really hope I
Marshall
get to work with Dylan
teach
McQueen
us.
again someday.
McQueen.
Yeah,
Proud of that.
guys that know all the tricks. Hey, Dr.
Oh,
Tom, man,
this sucks.
he was a dirty player in the day too.
Oof.
Oh,
It's like Petty and Pink back on the same
It's
page
rough,
for
but it looks
now.
beautiful.
Yes,
Kincaid
yes.
out. I think he took Kincaid and knocked heads with Sleazy
You can
E.
tell by the crowd
We
reaction
might want to
also.
check on poor Sleazy E over there. Seriously, guys. We might want to get some attention over there. Kincaid now slowly making his way over there.
So is this a promotion that you work for pretty regularly?
Not as regular as I have. I unfortunately haven't been able to
Don't
get
have to
back
say it,
with
you just
them,
shouldn't
and
do.
yeah, exactly.
That's one thing you just shouldn't do.
I
Look at
haven't
Sleazy
gotten
E.
back to
He's
them
up out of the
since
chair, by God.
the new
He's
year.
rooting him
And
on.
I'm hopefully going to get down there in August.
Or McQueen, Bronco Buster.
Go Buster.
He's enjoying that.
Props on the way you sold that one.
Again, looks like
Thank you.
Pink has put away their differences for now. Back on the same page.
We're on the same page, man. Like this is a great team. Great team.
Big right here is Kinsey, the more experience of the two, and that experience showing off. Yeah, cheap shots, Kincaid.
About
Yeah,
5
showing how
minutes.
fearless she is. She's got a sack bigger than most of the men.
Hey, she'll fight anybody.
You don't want so broad.
Did you? That
Yeah,
commentary was great.
Oh, man alive.
Yeah,
Did
fortunately,
you did
there's
not
only about like
Again, the train's
what
hot
was
off the
it?
track.
Sorry.
did you catch what the commentator said about
No,
the
what
girl
did he
that's
say?
she's got a sack bigger
Going
than
a
most
big
of the
move
men.
there for Max.
I
He
mean,
takes
oh,
advantage of the
Kenzie's
argument.
tough. She's a tough
And
girl.
she needs to tag Kincaid back in.
Knees to the faces of both competitors, and here he comes. Makes the tag, Jason Cade. Big
The
springboard.
Kincaid.
Springboard crossbody.
Body.
Charles Kincaid's a beast.
Oh, man. They almost. No! Oh, good
I love
God.
that.
What a KO shot.
Sliced bread, man.
Yeah,
Impressive.
sliced bread. And how she's still standing after that. She is one tough broad. Here we go! Oh! To the crowd. Kincaid wipes him out.
Suicide dive takes him out.
Here comes Kinsey. Oh, she eats it. The rope. Kincaid had it scouted. Cover to kick out at 2.
Now that I look at him more, it gives me more of a skinnier Eric Redbeard vibe.
All over the world, going all the way to the
Matt Redbeard. He dropped an F-bomb at an ASW show to pop the whole crowd. It was pretty funny.
Look at that fire and
Her
aggression.
super kick is awesome.
Big super kick. She's got Kincaid down. What a shocker.
I think that's one awesome thing about wrestling too is that even the independent workers with getting to sit under the learning tree from those bigger names and stuff at certain shows is it's definitely a positive that most people like once they make it there and they come back on that. Everybody says it's a you're going up and then it's a fall back down on your way back down, and if you can give some knowledge to an up and comer.
Headbutt each other.
She's trying to kiss him?
Oh, not what I wanted to see on a Saturday night. Oh,
shit out.
man And he just pimp slapped her, and she is fighting back.
I think he got the better of that exchange.
Oh, and a big elbow, but it was incidental contact.
Double stunner.
Good teamwork here by Kincaid and Kolbe Max.
He's going up top. Is this going to be it?
This is the first time I ever did this
May be
move.
a different
What is
version
Oh, in a
of
match.
here.
Big
Senton.
senton. Wow, here it comes.
Sorcerer stomp. Death from above. Cover. Kincaid wins.
Great match.
That is the one match. I don't really like watching matches back on myself, but this is like one of the matches that I
Great
enjoy
choice
watching
of partner
back.
for Jason Kincaid. And once
You
again,
can tell that
Kincaid
everyone
victorious
involved
here tonight
had
as
fun with it.
Indy in
We
pink
did.
imploded before our very eyes. What a night. What a great main event. Jason.
Thank you so much for having me on here.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope the people on Facebook and YouTube that see this enjoy it. Yeah, we'll get together on bringing Kobe Max down to exclusive pro wrestling.
Please.
So this is us signing off.
See you later.